Hi guys, welcome back to the Super Sensitive Show. My name is Daria and I'm here with my favorite professor ever.
Hi, I'm Suharu.
Suharu taught me
Design principles.
Best class ever. Walk me through that class, like the goals for that class.
So, design principles is designed for first year students, primarily for illustration students, and it kind of opened up to other students, but it's really about learning how to manipulate space, how to manipulate, I guess, two-dimensional space to communicate idea or to create a narrative. So I would say it's a pretty good fundamental course for all first year students.
I think why I liked it so much is because I never had a class like that kind of took a step back and was analyzing how we're thinking about things and shapes and really breaking things down to the basics. That's why I loved it. But yeah, you are an amazing illustrator.
Thank
you are pretty established. How long have you been doing freelance?
Freelance, well, I graduated from OCAD in 2014, and I have to admit, I didn't really get to do anything for the first few years. So really, my first steady gig was maybe since 2016.
Okay.
So, it hasn't actually been even 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I guess I'll ask you a couple questions that I would personally want to know because there are going to be a lot of students watching this. This is more like a student channel. What's something you wish you could tell your 21-year-old self?
Is not to be too hard on yourself, I guess, and that it's pretty okay for your career to be flexible. I think it's sometimes very hard when you have this kind of a set goal and I have to accomplish this in 1 year or 2 years after I graduate, otherwise I'm a failure kind of things.
Okay, yeah.
I think, I'm not really sure if you already have that kind of expectation for yourself, I have to, meet this.
Yeah, I have to be this freelance illustrator and that's it.
It's
got to be this one type of career. Yeah, that's true.
Because in reality, you will evolve and your interest also evolve too, right?
Yeah.
So I think one of the advices that I can give is to want to be flexible and to be open to different kinds of opportunities. Because if I think about my own career, it wasn't that I was only walking on one path. It was kind of going all over, and maybe it took me 5, 6, 7, 8 years, but finally kind of going into simpler path, but at the beginning it was all over, and I think it's okay to experience something different and something so unexpected too.
Yeah, and when you're growing up in school, they make it seem like you have this, you're going towards this one job and then that's it forever. So it makes sense that we get stuck in those patterns of we have to be this, and if we're not doing this then it means we're straying away. But I totally agree in a sense that any opportunity and any new job or anything is kind of just adding to your belt, sort of.
Exactly. And I think it's also okay to, find something that it's not in illustration. And maybe you are coming back, you might not, but if you're not coming back, that simply means that you found something
exactly,
that you feel more passionate about.
Exactly.
And then who knows, maybe you are eventually going to incorporate something about illustration into whatever the career path that you're going to have. And speaking of when I was 21, and I don't know if I share this story with you when you're a student in my class, my first career was in illustration. My career path really went all over. So when I was 21, I was in Kentucky studying art history and anthropology.
Okay.
And surely I thought I was going to be either curator at the museum or be in some kind of art or I don't know, history researcher type of thing. So that's why I study anthropology and art history. And I went to grad school studying art history. And I ended up, so I did my undergraduate in Kentucky and I did my graduate study in Ohio. And I ended up getting a librarian job in California. So I was a librarian, sorting and, cataloging books and slides. And when I was reaching 30, I had a little early, maybe midlife crisis. Like, what am I doing? Do I want to spend the rest of my life being as an art librarian? Nothing wrong with it. It's just that I didn't feel it.
Yes.
And I know that I always had this hidden passion, I must say, like drawing pictures.
Yeah.
And why did I leave that passion? Because I was scared, right? I had this certain expectation of my career, like art cannot be serious, or like, what does that even mean to have career in art?
Very
So I stepped
common,
out, and then I became art librarian, which was fulfilling and it was amazing. But then I just one day thought, you know what, I don't want to continue feeling this way.
Yeah.
So no matter what you do, life is always hard.
Yeah.
Right? It's always going to be challenging. So I had these two choices, I guess. Being miserable, not doing things that I always wanted to do, or being, I shouldn't say miserable, but, struggling to get to where I need to be.
Yeah, and always having that voice in your head, I actually really want to be doing something else.
So like, do I, am I going to keep that voice in me and not doing anything about it, or actually do it? I might fail, but at least I can say I did it.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I quit my job in California and moved to Toronto to study at OCAD University.
That's so cool.
See, like that's what I would have told my 20-year-old myself. That it's okay to pursue what you think you're going to pursue, but just be open that your career is going to be
I think that's a big part of it too.
Flexible.
Is being open and wanting to try new things for sure, and realizing that there are versions of what you want to do in other things too.
Absolutely.
And like being able to bridge. You just had a book come out. When you were studying illustration at OCAD, did you always want to do children's book illustration, or did that just kind of like end up where the jobs are?
Both, I think. I always loved the idea of picture books, and I don't know, I also thought, not that we're getting into this deep, childhood memories and all that, but I also wanted to make book that I wish I had growing up. And I like the idea of doodling pictures for kids. I was one of those kids who was always like leaving little drawing notes for everyone.
Notes,
So why not do that and then still interact with the kids? I did take a picture book class, so I took I guess industry-specific courses while I was at OCAD. My third year and fourth year, I did take a sequential narrative course and book illustration course.
Yeah, I took that too in my third year. Yeah, great course.
It's great.
It's a great skill, even if that's not what you're gonna end up doing, because it's very much like, here's a concept and here's an idea, and let's make it apply for various types of people, because it's not just going to be kids reading your book too, right?
Yeah, kids book actually is oftentimes say it's designed also for adults who will be reading the book for kids. Right? So you're actually creating a book for kids and also to adult figure who is reading the book to the kids. Right.
Yeah, no, I love those books, and I like how they don't always feel, like a lot of kids' books feel very dumbed down. And very much like, sometimes like an insult to the kids.
Kids are smart.
Kids are very smart.
Yeah.
Very smart, and I know that you don't do a lot of the writing, but like, I love how you match the energy and keep it fun, but also keep it serious and informative.
Yeah, and I think it's like my personality is very suitable for kids' book, I think. I mean, of course, you can illustrate different types of picture book, but my personality. Like, this actually shows up in a picture book. So I guess I have a tendency to get projects, non-fiction or also fiction, that has a lot of energy to it, because I think it's a perfect match of my personality and then I guess the tone of the book that I'm often
I think
working
that's
with.
why, like, you know, a lot of people are saying like, you know, careers and art might become so digital and AI can do it, but it's like, honestly, some of the personality that you get from working with an illustrator is like, you can't find that. You know, so I think that's amazing, and
you will surprise yourself that even when you're illustrating a picture book that's not even yours, like it might not be written by you, but you still get to put your voice, you know, your personality, your voice. It's going to be visible in the finished book for sure.
Yeah, totally. I want to talk about it just because I want this advice for myself, because I know that coming like just out of school, what's like your routine, and kind of like how did you establish with yourself, like, you know, I know you were probably working part-time jobs as well as freelancing, but like how did that mix kind of start?
Yeah, so like daily routine, you know, I start by like meditating and then drinking a smoothie. No, I don't do that. I snooze a lot in the morning. But I'm a morning person. So my wife and I are early riser, meaning that we set our alarm at 5:30. So my day starts at 5:30, but actually starts at 6. So there's a lot of like hitting.
A lot of hitting
snooze. But I like having early morning for myself. I'm definitely not a night owl. We go to bed early. Early by means maybe like 10 or 11. That's early, right? I cannot do any all-nighters. Once you hit certain
I'm
age,
looking at my editor.
I cannot. I feel it, right? So I like getting up really early. I get to my studio. I have a studio at 41 Richmond
I had to
building.
tell you something. We're roommates now.
Oh, you?
I got the career launcher.
Amazing. Which floor?
3rd.
2nd.
See you in the lunchroom.
Yeah, that's right. They have amazing patio, a rooftop patio.
I was told.
Oh, when are you going to move in?
I was told June 7th, I believe. It's like the official move-in date.
Very soon.
Me and the 3 other students.
Oh, wow, amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, stop by.
Oh, absolutely.
Wow, that's amazing. So anyway, so I work at studio, sometime at home, but oftentimes, most of the time in the studio. So I get there early because I do so many different things. I teach, and I also do a little bit of design work, editorial work, and in a picture book. I have to have a pretty rigid schedule. I'm an avid list maker. I love having a list that I can cross every day. And it can be even like a back of my receipt. I don't have like I have schedule that you buy, you know, the beginning of the year, and then you never open it until March. So I have a schedule that I use here and there, but I just love, I don't know, having a loose paper. And every day I will just write, this is a thing that I need to do. Like I need to prioritize, otherwise I don't get to do everything that I need to get done. So I make a lot of lists, and I will just cross and cross and cross and cross.
Yeah, that's great. That's like, I have a lot of like notes on my phone.
And I think prioritizing your to-do list is really important. And that's something that I say that to my students too, especially my book illustration students. Because if you're going to be working on picture book, for example, the process is quite long, right? Like you would be working on that single book for, you know, I mean, it can be as short as 3 months or typically like 6 to a year. And it's not that editor and art director would be checking on you every week. It's really your responsibility to set the schedule and stick to it and produce the work that you promised to deliver. So that means that you always have to be aware of all the deadlines. So, you know, deadline for picture book sketch might be 3 months from now, but obviously you cannot start working on that week before. So I'm always very aware of when all that deadlines are going to be on schedule. And I'll prioritize. Like, especially with picture book, I have to work a little bit at a time. I'm not someone who can do a lot of work like a night before or like a week
all
before.
In one go,
So even with the picture book, maybe I will be working maybe like one spread every day or two spread each day, kind of thing. So I have that kind of schedule. So when I'm working on multiple picture books, I have like 2 hours to work on this book, sketches.
Yeah.
And then I might take a little break and I might do other things and I come back. For the next two hours, I will work on this book for maybe like sketch revision for 2 weeks. So like for 2 hours. So I have that kind of like a set schedule.
Right,
that,
like the blocking.
Yep, that works for me. I'm
That's
not
really
a spontaneous, like, I feel like doing this today
Yeah.
kind of
Were
thing.
you always that way?
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I think like OCAD did a great job at like spreading out the projects in a way that a client would. You know, sketches, linears, finals.
Yep.
And you know, when you're in school, it can be lenient and you can have the extensions and stuff. But like, it's so important, like you're saying, to have those deadlines, even if you're setting them for yourself.
Yeah.
Because the anxiety that can come with, I don't have time really to explore these ideas before they're due, right? Like you almost need to kind of be your own little boss.
Yep, and then I think you also have to establish like what works the best for you. Like I know some people thrive in this kind of like adrenaline, deadline driven. No. Yeah, I will not. So I know myself.
Yeah, exactly. That's the
I
most
also
important
know
part.
that I don't work really well like late at night. So, you know, it's important when you're a student to I guess learn what works the best for you.
Yeah.
Right?
And be like open to trying different
Yeah,
things,
yeah.
but definitely like recognizing when you're at your peak kind of creativity and sort of hacking into your own. Yeah, that's totally
Because
true.
I also know that I can't work longer than 3 hours in one go. Like I cannot. So like I usually work like 2 hours or 3 hours and then step out.
Yeah.
And do something.
And
else.
that's another thing, like the expectation that a work day is a 9 to 5 constant go, 1 hour lunch. Like not a lot of people can work like that.
Yeah,
You have to step up, and especially when you're working in like a creative field, you need to get up and you need to stimulate your brain and take breaks and read and all that stuff. How would you say is like the best way for a student to get involved in like Toronto's art scene? I know you mentioned Steps as well.
Yeah, Step Art Initiative is amazing. And it also like, you know, I guess I'm speaking from publishing like point of view. There are amazing book festivals.
Okay.
And, you know, there are always book launch for new books. So get involved with different events like publishing or art related events, and also follow like publishers social media or something, because they always promote, hey, we have this book launch event coming up.
They'll post on their stories and stuff.
And it's an amazing way to meet fellow artists, or it's an amazing way to meet your favorite authors or illustrators, or who knows, maybe you get to meet our directors and so forth. So it's fun and it's also helpful, and especially coming out of you know, OCAD, and you might find it maybe like you feel lost at times, like I don't know where to start. Then go out.
Right.
And just involved in different events. And the public art projects and programs are amazing. So, and it's interesting because I've done so many like random things, and then it really helped me be where I am today.
Yeah.
And then even, you know, some people might have, I don't know, negative feeling about like, oh, part-time job or doing something that's not like illustration related. But those things actually brought me some really interesting projects.
Yeah.
So really be open.
It's true. And like I find that even coming out of illustration, like obviously in programs like accounting and stuff like that, like you want to get a job in that field that you got the degree for like 6 months after you graduate. But for something like illustration, you have to be willing to try those little small side projects, right? Like designing logos, you know, and small stuff like that. I think, you know, like I said before, you're building your repertoire. Yeah. And you never know what you're going to come across.
Exactly. And then like really treasure the relationship that you cultivate and then you form with those people that you meet along the way. I have an interesting story. So I had this contract term, like a graphic design part-time job at University of Toronto. So I was working as a graphic designer, and I had a chance to meet other designers working at UFT for lunch or something. And I ran into then art director of UFT Medicine magazine, Raj Granger. Hi, Raj, if you're watching. Amazing guy. And so I was a big fan of his work. He's an incredible art director he used to be the art director for UFT Meds. And so I approached to him. Like, I wouldn't have met him if I didn't work as a part-time graphic designer there.
Yeah.
And so I introduced myself and said, hey, I'm a big fan of your work. You always design incredible magazine for UFT Meds. And, he asked me if I was like illustrator, like how would you know? So we exchanged a name, and then sure enough, a few weeks later, he said, hey, can I see your portfolio?
Yeah.
And I showed him my portfolio, and he said, oh, our next issue is all about legalization of cannabis. And there's an amazing, interesting article that you might be a good fit. It's about weed, and we want to make it look a little fun and not too like serious medical article. So he brought him in, and we had this amazing work together, and we had this cannabis issue of UFT Meds.
Wow.
And sure enough, which magazine was that? BC Business. It's a BC-based business magazine. Saw my work. I was like, oh, you do cannabis work. So we are starting this monthly column about cannabis. And I'm wondering if you'd be interested in becoming our monthly, illustrator.
Yeah,
I said, oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So sure enough, for the next 12 months, I was the cannabis illustrator for BC Business. And the thing is, like, I don't even smoke. And there's nothing wrong with it. I just, I don't smoke.
Yeah.
And here I am, acting like a cannabis professional.
Connoisseur.
A connoisseur.
Yeah, because, like, again, like, it's from one to the next.
Yeah.
And you really don't know who's, usually in those types of fields, like, you meet different people who need those things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and so like that
awesome.
project, that 1 year of cannabis project gig wouldn't have happened if I didn't work as part-time graphic
but
designer.
also if you weren't flexible. Like
Yes.
if you said, no, I'm
Right.
focusing on one thing,
Right,
or no, I
exactly.
don't know anything about cannabis, I'm not doing that. Like you have to be sort of open,
Yeah.
and yeah, I think that's super essential. When you're
Trust
just
me,
coming out.
when you're an illustrator, working as an illustrator, you learn so much. You become smart.
Yeah.
Because every project that you take on is something new to learn.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
You get like little bits of information and stories. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome. We're gonna do a little activity.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay.
I am going to get you to draw me your illustration toolbox or your freelance toolbox. So this could be things this could be physical things. This
Okay.
could be, conceptual things like patience. But I guess however you kind of visualize these tools that you use. Maybe I'll do it too.
Okay, well, I'm gonna be a little literal first. So, of course, first that's going to be my amazing pencil.
Yep.
So I work both digitally and I also use analog medium, but I love pencil. My sketch usually
Mostly in the pencil brush,
in a pencil.
right?
Yeah, even
Me
when
too.
I work on iPad, which I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
I'm usually drawing with pencil first.
Yeah.
It's that I should be drawing now, but it's the sound.
Oh, I know, it's so
that
good.
pencil
well,
makes.
I got the paper cover.
Yeah, but it doesn't make that sound. It's like asthma. Right?
Asthma, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I got my little briefcase here. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm becoming more of a media person, which is why I'm so happy that I was lucky enough to get the 401 Richmond, because I'm just excited to be like experimenting with different things and trying different things and being around people. That's another big thing. It's
yeah.
like I hear 401's really great for community.
Yeah, and then like they have amazing programs. I'm actually going to participate Doors Open this year.
Oh, great.
So I'm going to open up my studio and have like a kids station and a book
cool.
reading with one of the authors.
Oh, very cool. That's a lot of fun.
So you get to do that too. You're going to move in June, and then your lease is for 1 year until another June, next June.
Yeah.
Then you get to do doors open.
Wow. Oh, I definitely need my dog in my toolbox. It's not a good drawing, though. Do you have any pets?
I have a lot of centipedes and spiders, if that actually counts.
Do they live in a cage, or do they just come and go?
Oh, you know, basement.
Base.
They're actually really friendly. Sometimes I find them on bug sheets. But,
okay. It's free real estate, you know? I mean, the rent in Toronto is just it's crazy.
I let them stay. Yeah.
So generous.
I know.
So kind. Steven's giggling over there.
Do you have pets?
I have a dog. Her name is Bowie. Steven always gives me a hard time because he wants her on the show, but I physically...
Why not? That's what I'm saying. Next episode.
Next episode, it's true. I'll try and get her on the subway. Oh boy. Oh, I need my coffee in here. Definitely need coffee in my toolbox. How did you come across the teaching job?
From a teaching assistant. I was actually a teaching assistant first. It was, we call it now contemporary illustration, but then it was called Modern North American Illustration. You might have taken that.
We did. I was in your class.
Yes. So I was actually a TA before I started teaching that class.
Okay.
And then I ended up teaching the class, and design principle also opened up. And but I also wanted to, not that I dreamt about becoming a teacher, but you know, I stayed in school for so long. My first undergraduate and then a graduate program, and then an OCAD, and so many people helped me along the way. And it's so cheesy and cliche to say, I wanted to pay back, or like, you know,
no,
pay
but like
forward.
it's true.
Yeah.
It's really true. I can kind of relate. I teach young kids on Mondays and Saturdays in Richmond Hill, like little kids. I teach them art.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and when I saw the job posting, I was kind of like, I'm not like a big kid person, but this is something that, again, is out of my comfort zone. And what could go wrong? Lots went wrong, but in a sense where I realized this just kind of wasn't for me. But I stuck around, so my classes finish in a couple months.
Amazing.
I think. And so a year of teaching kids, I definitely learned a lot.
You learn a lot.
I learned a lot about patience and why some kids are great and some kids
need more
help.
I'm surprised how much teaching helped me maybe get better at public speaking, for example. Oh my God. My first year when I was teaching your class, I think that was my first year teaching.
No way.
Wait, what year did you take my class?
2017 or 2016 or 2017.
Must have been my first. No.
2019.
2019. Yeah, it must have been my first class.
You were natural. You were great.
But it really helped me. And of course,
Yeah.
teaching a large format course, it also helps me with the public speaking skill. But, you always have to put that kind of like a stage persona.
It's true.
At the moment that you step into the classroom, I have to...
Yeah, you have to switch. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
At home, I'm Suharu. But in
Yeah.
the classroom, I'm like Suharu.
Yeah, no, completely. Absolutely.
And even when I was teaching online during the pandemic, it's that, home Suharu, and then like I have to click the Teams to start.
And then you're like,
Suharu.
yeah. Absolutely. What's in your toolbox right now?
A lot of.
I see a bottle.
Yes. Is this like 18 and under?
No, this
right?
is whatever you want it to be. Some of the things that are said on this podcast,
It's
you're good.
definitely okay.
You're good.
Juicy stuff. Okay.
Juicy. I got my dog. I got Pinterest here because you know how we rely on Pinterest.
Yes.
Gouache, charger, feelings.
Yeah, something like that. Oh wow, that's a very organized toolbox.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah, the affirmations, your little backpack.
Yeah, it's actually
Aw.
me walking. I love walking, and when I'm stuck with ideas, I'm usually walking. That actually
Yeah.
helps me quite a bit.
Yeah.
There's something about this like moving scenery that
Yeah.
I guess stimulates me.
I'm the same. I can't be like in like a box for too long. I have to
Yeah.
go out and breathe the fresh air, which
That's
a lot of
right.
us forget to do sometimes.
Especially now when the weather is going to be nice,
Oh,
so
yeah.
why not?
Why not? Well, thank you so much
Yes.
for coming on. I really am so happy that you're here. It feels very full circle
Oh.
for me.
Well, let me just say I'm very proud of you for the person that you have become.
Thank you.
Wait a minute. It's a very special moment.
It is
so
a special moment.
It's been 4 years, right? So
Yeah.
I started teaching at OCAT 4 years ago. So you're my very first
Wow.
cohort, right, of students.
yeah.
And now, 4 years later, I see a lot of my first year students graduating.
Yeah.
And walking through GradX, it
Yeah.
really made me proud of
Yeah.
how far they have become. And you know,
Yeah.
it's an incredible feeling.
Yeah.
It
It's
was
great
definitely a
to
teary moment.
See
Yep.
everything. Yeah, and see everyone buy their work and be proud of what they were doing. Yeah.
And then just like running into former students like
Yeah.
you. Oh, you're a
Yeah.
baby 4 years ago.
I know.
And now see like, oh, Daria, you know, like grown up. And I see that, like, you know, walking through GradX, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I haven't seen you for quite some
Yeah.
times. And then like seeing their work and how they have been applying design principles in their work.
Yes, of course. Take the credit.
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
right. So it's been amazing. Teaching is challenging at times, but
Yeah.
it's always rewarding.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, and I will see you guys next week on
Thank
the
you.
Super Sensitive Show. Please follow Suharu right here. You can check out her work and hire her for some really fun stuff
That's
too,
right.
if you're watching. Because
And hire, of course, Daria,
my
because amazing artist right here.
thank you so much. Goodbye.
Bye.